Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm going to show you how I prune back Cornus or Dogwood. You can see it here behind me with the lovely red stems, and I'll also show you eucalyptus, but the same principles apply to other trees that you grow for the nice branches in the winter, some of the willows for example. And the reason why you do it is exactly for the purposes of why you're growing them. So you're growing them because you want this nice red stem during the winter months when there isn't probably an awful lot of other colour in your garden. Excuse the traffic. And if you don't cut them back every year, what you'll be left with is this kind of yellowy, browny, you know, not much about it stem instead, which there isn't much purpose to. The other reason you do it is that you can see here on some of the branches, you can see that some of the buds are starting to come out for the new leaves, the new foliage. Well, those new leaves are going to be all up at the top of the branches if we don't cut them down. So we want to have leaves all the way through so that this forms a lovely foliage backdrop at the back of this border where it is. This is actually at the back of the bed that I'm here at the minute, even though it mightn't look like it to you guys. So you're doing it for two reasons, so that when the new stems grow, that you'll have the red next year, and also so that the foliage will be the whole way down the plant, so that you have a nice backdrop over the summer or the spring months as well. So that's why you're doing it. It's definitely worthwhile. I do ask myself before I do these videos, would a busy person be bothered doing this? I really think you should. And the other good thing about it is dogwood stems are really bendy. They're like willow stems. So they're very useful for lots of things. Now, I know you might have enough on your plate and not want to do anything with them. That's fine. You can shred them up and put them into the compost. But if you do want to use them, things they're very useful for is you can use them as plant supports. So either just straight stems, they harden off quite well after a while, and very good for small supports for stems. And they're not noticeable, you know, not like a bamboo cane or something, which is much more obvious looking. The other thing they're very good for is they can actually vent into hoops to make plant supports for small perennials that can grow up through them. So I'll do another video for that someday. And you can also use them to make the frame for reeds, you know, if you make your own reeds. So look, you might have enough on your plate and not have time for crafts, but if you did want to do something with, they are actually quite useful. And what I used them for this year was, I actually snuck a few out in November. I think it's in some of my videos, and I put them at the back of a planter to kind of, you know, fill out a planter that looked a bit, you know, miserable. And I thought it looked really well. And actually, I'll put a photo in the video as well. They actually have rooted. So I'm going to have more of these guys, which is great, because this year I've lost some plants, and it's been it's a bit sad. It's always sad to lose a few plants, but there's some other surprises coming out of it too. So you always have to try and look on the bright side. Okay, so that's the why we're doing it part, and what we're going to do with it afterwards. The how we're doing it is we're going to be brave, people, because I always find that when you're new to gardening, and even someone like me, it's so hard to cut down something that looks like it's thriving. But you just have to believe that this is the right thing to do overall for this plant. So you're cutting it way down. You're cutting it, if it's already been cut before, you cut back down to where it was cut last year. So you can kind of see the wounds here of previous prunings. That's where you're going again this year. You cut every single branch off it, unless, you cut every single branch off it. It's hard to do, I don't dispute it, but you just got to do it and be brave. So let's get some of these guys off. So all I'm using is my Kent and Stowe little pruning shears. They're actually, you know, they're not that thick. They're only about that thick. So yeah, this is fine for it. Cut them down as long as you can, because the longer you can keep them, the more useful they are for other uses down the way. Yeah, my Kent and Stowe pruning shears, as you can see, is not looking the greatest. You wouldn't think this cost me the price it did. I'm not the greatest tool carer. What you should do with your tools is clean them after every use and give them a little bit of an oiling and then put them into sand to keep them stored. But I'm too lazy. So if you're like me and they end up like this, like, it's still working. So I'll keep going till it's not going. Okay, so we keep going with these guys. Okay, so you get the idea. You keep going until it's finished. Right, so that's it. Here I am now with my bundle of cuttings, like the second little pig or something. And here is my poor little dogwood here. So as you can see, it's not a pretty sight, but it will come back quite quick. If you haven't cut yours before and you have no guide mark to go back to, you can go even lower than this. You can go as low as, say, 6 inches, 15 centimeters to the ground. So right down to about there if you wanted. I don't bother. This is at the back of the bed. I can't see it. You know, it doesn't make any difference whether I go that low or a bit lower. So yeah, and as you can see, every time you cut it, you'll get multiple stems from that cutting point. So you'll end up with lots of extra shoots next year. So if you haven't done it before, it's okay to do it now. Be brave, it'll be fine. They grow really quick, you'll be surprised. It'll be huge again come the summer. And yeah, that's it. If you haven't done it before, you might find some of your stems are actually quite thick and you can't cut them with an ordinary pruning shears or secateurs like I use there. The tool that you'd need for that is a loper. So I'll put a link to both of those down below if you want to check them out and see what I'm talking about for it. And that's it for today. Thanks a million for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And the next one I'm going to look at now is a eucalyptus. So it's a very similar situation, but we'll go and look at that now. Hi again, everybody. Here I am in a different part of the garden with my eucalyptus bush here. So if you don't cut back a eucalyptus, it'll keep growing taller and taller and get absolutely massive and take over the whole garden, which is definitely not why I have it. I have it because I want this colour young foliage here in the background. It's actually behind my blue pergola. You can't see it really from this vantage point, but it's this young foliage I want, and this is the reason why most people grow them. The problem is the young foliage only grows at the top of the tree. So if you let your tree or eucalyptus shrub or whatever you have grow too tall, you won't be able to gather up these young shoots. So if the reason why you're growing them is these ones, then you need to cut it back so that you'll get more of them lower down. So no more than the other one, it's a tough job to do because it's a lovely evergreen shrub. It's a beautiful colour, and at the time of the year when there's very little else looking great in the garden, it's a hard task to take your secateurs to this. But I'm afraid that's it. If you don't, you'll end up with this kind of growth is all you'll see, and this lovely stuff will be all up so high that you won't be able to see it. So that's why you're doing it. You have to keep reminding yourself of your why, people, and take your life in your hands and get to it. So similar to the other one. Now this one actually is a good example because I didn't cut this one last year. This actually is new enough plant in my garden. So I have to cut it for the first time, and I'm going to cut it roughly about to there. You can go down as low as 3 inches off the ground. You call this coppicing. So you're making a tree behave like a bush, basically. So I'm going to get multiple stems growing up with lots of this lovely foliage that I'm after. And you can go down as low as 3 inches, which is down there, but like that's a bit too low for me. So I'm going to go to around here, and you just cut them off. Okay, that's it. And you keep going till you have them all off. Try and go for clean cuts. I didn't do such a great job on that one, so I'll give it one more go. Okay, and this one, they're probably slightly too thick to use for secateurs, so you can get a loper for these. Put off the rest of it. I don't need the cane was supporting it there. Might as well tidy up all these little twigs now as well while I'm at it. Oh, the smell of this is just amazing. Fabulous, fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to come back now and do the other two with the loper, and actually I'll tidy up these ones that didn't cut quite so cleanly as well. Okay, so I'm back with my loper now, and I'm going to cut off the ones that are too thick. I'm actually going to tidy up these ones that didn't cut cleanly as well, because you don't want to leave somewhere where infection or disease. God, that's not cutting cleanly. Okay, we'll go for the big one. Lovely. Oh, it's split a bit. That's not good. Yeah, perfect. I'm going to have one last go at this guy. Keeping it real here on YouTube, people. Get it right into it. His body is in the way. Yeah, perfect. And then this one is the last one. Okay. That's it. Not the prettiest job I've ever done, but you get the gist of it. So you have all these gorgeous leaves. The smell is just sensational. But anyway, look, these leaves, you can take them off as little branches and use them in flower arrangements or for wreaths. So if you were feeling very crafty, you could make a wreath out of your dogwood stems and then use your eucalyptus stems in around them. But you need a fair bit of time in your hands now for all that stuff. So I leave it to your own creativity. I'd love to hear your other ideas. Send me some comments or ideas below of what you can do with all these guys. And thanks a million for watching. And please subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And join me again for more again soon. And this is Rebecca from the Busy Woman's Garden, over and out. Take care. Bye-bye.